Welcome back to another part of this F1 25 My Team Career Mode. This is part number 29 today for the Las Vegas GP in Season 2. And off the back of having 3 ultimate upgrades, we should be pretty happy after last time out. But it ends up being a very, very messy and chaotic Grand Prix to forget for ourselves driving as Tim Tramnett. It was actually a great day in the office for Jenson Button, who got the sprint win and a second place podium in the full Grand Prix, but it was certainly a race from us and Tramnett that maybe aligns more with an F3 rookie in Formula 1, but it was, we got quite unlucky with a few of those things. Also, other ones were just our faults and mistakes that we should have been ironing out, but from the get-go, since that setup tweak we did, things were a bit shaky with the car. I feel though we were getting comfortable with it up until the incidents in the main Grand Prix. So I'm confident that we can turn over a new leaf here for the Las Vegas Grand Prix and actually make use of a car that is now right up there in R&D performance. But before we get on with preparations for Las Vegas, there's a massive bit of breaking news. Lewis Hamilton is retiring from Formula 1. This is a real shock in-game, because in-game, Ferrari are the reigning Constructors' World Champions. They're maybe having a resurgence where they could actually maybe bring it back to defend their Constructors' Championship, and Lewis is retiring from F1, from a team that is that good. Very, very surprised. I really thought it was going to be a case of, because Ferrari are actually doing so well so far in this series, that Hamilton's AI would consider just sticking around for a while. But also we've seen Leclerc is the individual in the driver's title fight. Hamilton's not. He started off a bit stronger, I feel, this season than Leclerc, but then it's petered off. So maybe, you know, it's got to that point where the form has not been there. So, you know, in the game, in the coding, there's something there that has just convinced Lewis to hang up the boots, even though he's in such a quick Ferrari at the moment. And honestly, with the momentum they've got, they have a real good chance of bringing it back to, like I said, defend their Constructors' Championship. Yeah, no more Hamilton. And as the email says, this is going to be a big domino effect. This is a big seat in a big team. Could this really shake things up? I mean, we've already spoken about, you know, Antonelli. He moved from Mercedes to Haas. The Ferrari pipeline is there. Is he going to be thrust into the Italian team early, or is someone else going to have to fill the shoes up until he's ready to go there? You know, there's so many different ways this could go, and we're only going to find out at the very end of the season, into pre-season for Season 3. So with that bombshell dropped on us, we can, I guess, now switch focus back to ourselves and preparing before Las Vegas. We've actually got one new owner perk to spend, a training point to spend. Having a look around, was really debating now, because we're getting to the point where, you know, there's the last couple of ones on these trees, and I'm really trying to be very decisive with what I pick, because it's taking a while now to earn owner XP, as it would as we go through the levels. So the training points are quite rare, so I wanted to make sure I picked the best one for what I feel like the situation is. And I think actually the fan outreach, the new fan outreach activity, unlocking that would be quite good, because we can consistently do that. That means basically it gives us a new activity to constantly put on the timeline every single time, and that will in turn chip away at the fan rating. And the higher fan rating we eventually get, the more money we're bringing in, the more sponsors we can put on the car, so the livery can be more interesting in the future. So for me personally, aesthetically, that's something I want to definitely do, because the more sponsors I can play around with in future seasons, the better and more fun we're going to have in terms of, you know, future liveries for this team, etc. Before we get, you know, a ton of mods involved. You know, I'm trying to make the most of the decal editor, you know, as it's there, and it's been so good to use. But away from aesthetics, then going to R&D, look at this. To my surprise, we've got some stuff in orange, which means there's an R&D regulation change. There's an R&D reset. It seems to be the entire powertrain side of the car is being reset, and then only the tire wear upgrades on the chassis. If I'm correct, all these upgrades right here that are in orange on the chassis side, correct me if I'm wrong, these are all to do with tire wear. So I did not know this was a thing at all, because this definitely wasn't a thing in previous F1 games, but this might be a new feature where you can get an R&D reset specifically on one area of a department. So we've only got tire wear being reset. So this is almost like into next season there's like a new tire supplier coming in. So I think we're going to work that into the story, that this basically means that there is a new tire supplier coming into Formula 1. That's why only the tire wear upgrades are being reset. The rest of the chassis is staying put. So that is basically the game telling us that Pirelli are out and there's going to be a tire change, because otherwise why would that reset just on its own? And then there's going to be a whole engine change. Clearly F1 not liking the new 2026 regulations off the bat in season 2 here. So 2027 season 3, that's being reset. Something tells me in real life there may be similar sentiments about not liking the 2026 regulations for the engine side of things from what we've been hearing in real life. But yeah, fascinating. I was a bit taken aback, one, again, by the lack of email. I don't know why there's no email to tell you there's a reset. I feel like we've lost that sort of, big moment and event that the game used to give you with that sort of thing. But yeah, just very, very surprised that it was just literally this one part of the chassis. Thankfully, no aero resets, because we made some big gains there recently with 3 ultimate upgrades. So we're going to keep that. And I think this will, we'll obviously adapt those parts, and hopefully we'll be starting season 3 with a very competitive car that can try and, fight for the championship. I'm hoping third time lucky finally in the game, as we get a brand new sponsor onto the car with a pretty nice slick logo. So I'm hoping that will end up having a nice variant. I'm always thinking about the aesthetics now when it comes to the sponsors coming in, like what's the new variant going to be, what's it going to look like on the car, etc. Which is good. It means you actually care about using the decal editor. But we get some more facility upgrades then in, and I'm actually, now that we've got a free slot, I'm finally going to buy the powertrain breakthrough, because we bottlenecked ourselves a bit on the engine side, and there might be a couple of ultimate upgrades on the powertrain side that could be a real good booster. And maybe actually, stupidly, maybe that's why we're lacking a little bit of oomph in some of these tracks, is maybe because of a lack of engine power, maybe, potentially. But I don't think that's the whole issue, because clearly everyone else has also been feeling the same sort of acceleration issues. And actually at tracks like Las Vegas last season, acceleration wasn't an issue. Like our car, the My Team car, went really well at Las Vegas in season 1, even when we didn't have the R&D performance. So now going into this season's Las Vegas GP, I reckon we could be very, very competitive. Like Button got a podium last season in that car. So I think this season, I think we could be shooting for the top spots. I really do, and making up for what happened in Sao Paulo, as we do have other upgrades coming onto the car, and that will be done in time for the Qatar Grand Prix, the second last round of this season. It's come thick and fast. We've only got 3 races left, including this one, so it is crunch time. Can we overturn Williams as we stay ahead of them in the R&D chart, above Aston Martin as well? Level pegging with Mercedes, just a little bit behind Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari now, as Ferrari seem to have actually brought some decent upgrades into Las Vegas. So Ferrari, I really doubted them for most of this season, up until maybe like Spa. I thought Ferrari were about to lose their constructors, definitely, and neither of their drivers would be in the title fight. But they have surprised me, genuinely. They have turned it around, and I think they have a good chance. They're in 3rd in the constructors right now. I think at the rate they're going, there's obviously only 3 races left, but there's a slim chance they can overturn the constructors. And then elsewhere in the Drivers' Championship, I mean, Leclerc, it's not a slim chance. He's fully in the Drivers' title fight. Only a couple of points separating him and George Russell. And then Max Verstappen losing out a little bit in the last 2 races. As just before we go into Las Vegas, we have some updates around the car. You'll see a few little splashes of red extra red on the front wing as one of our latest sponsors, Opaque, I think it was. We unlocked a variant that has a nice little red decal addition to the lettering. So I've put that on the front wing. We've swapped that round since we've already got the most out of Equator Oil in terms of all the variants there. So I'm liking the additional bit of red on the front wing. I think the red just balances out the rest of the white we've got and the fluoro green and the black as well, as we were due to drive as Jenson Button this episode, you know, swapping every other race. But because it was such a difficult and frustrating race for us as Tim Tramnitz last time out, I want to drive as Tramnitz again for a second time in a row to have a bit of a redemption for him in this episode. But, okay. I don't know how much redemption we're going to get now, as it's heavy rain. Heavy rain in Las Vegas. Oh, my God. Right, well, apparently the latest patch, 1.06, not only did it fix the straight line speed, it maybe should have fixed the AI in wet weather racing as well, potentially. We didn't really get a chance to see that part of it yet, so I guess we're about to find out if we are more competitive in the wet.
Stand by to see cars at more than 210 miles an hour blasting their way down the strip. F1 has taken over. It's F1 Fever, Las Vegas.
Crofty really needs to get a new line for that intro to qualifying. How many times have we heard that now over the course of Vegas coming into the F1 game? I thought they were meant to be improving some of the audio lines and making them a little bit more varied, but I don't know. Maybe, let me know in the comments below. Maybe for Season 3, we switch it up and go to Alex Jakes for the main commentator, since, you know, officially now on F1 TV, it's Alex Jakes. It's not Crofty in Sky F1's commentary being the lead on F1 TV. So for a lot of you guys in Europe, not in the UK, that's actually your main commentator. So maybe we swap it around as we get into the heart of Q1 here in Las Vegas. And it's all about the straight line speed in the last sector and then trying to have enough downforce to navigate sectors 1 and 2. First off the bat, wasn't expecting a lot from Q1. You know, grip is low, but just wanting to get through into Q2. I will say, though, maybe having to judge the battery use a bit better because we ran out of battery right at the end of the lap. So maybe using a little bit less to make sure we have enough for that last bit of the straight onto the start-finish line. Is Leclerc topping the session. Sainz, the wrong Mercedes, up there in second. Russell still there in 7th place. And then Verstappen, P4, so he needs a bit of a bounce back after last episode, but it really, there's no surprise why Leclerc, Russell and Verstappen are the top 3 fighting for the championship, because they're just always consistently there. Piastri was in that frame, in that group, but he's become incredibly inconsistent and gone back to his Season 1 Piastri, as we've said in recent races. So that's a little bit sad to see from his side, because it was actually quite cool to see him finally doing really well, as he was and has been in real life, of course, in 2025, as we're now in Q2 with a purple middle sector, green the first, and showing some decent pace here to split the Ferraris and go up into P4. Buttons there in P6, and so both of us will be into the top 10 shootout, which is great. Verstappen's up there, though. He's turned up the wick a little bit. Nothing to separate him and Leclerc. Russell on the back foot a little bit. Sainz does not make it through. So Mercedes, they looked really strong in the Brazilian Grand Prix proper, but here in Vegas, one of them is knocked out, so that's not going to be great for them. And that's great news for Ferrari as well, because Piastri is also knocked out. So it's only both Ferraris in the top 10. This is what I mean. Ferrari, they're the only team right now out of the 3 that are, you know, both up there. You know, despite Hamilton announcing his retirement, you know, he's also performing as of late, which made the retirement even more surprising. But that's why I think I would put a bet on them overturning from P3 to P1 in this Constructors' Championship, unless Sainz picks up the pace, unless Piastri starts performing again for Red Bull, as we are now trying to ascend as high as we can in this qualifying. Only one soft tyre to use, though, so across the line for our one and only flying lap today as Tramnitz in Q3. It's P5, which is still pretty damn decent, but not as good as Jenson bloody Button. It's another pole position in this season. His first one was in Canada, as we drove as him, but this one It's all down to him. It's the AI JB that has got it, and that's turning back the clocks. It's Button and Hamilton locking out the front row. Former McLaren teammates now here all the way in 2026 in-game. And Hamilton, I mean, announces retirement, gets a front row. Maybe other drivers should announce their retirements. That's the secret sauce, it would seem. Verstappen had a horrendous Q3. Must have got caught up in traffic, that is, with how slow he looks. 1.6 off, near Colapinto, rather. So that's got to be traffic or a mistake. So Verstappen, in a race where he needed to bounce back after losing a lot of ground in the Drivers' Championship, he's on the back foot, and it's more about Leclerc and Russell, who are either side of us, P4 and 6. Let's go to the race. It's going to be, remember, a heavy rain Las Vegas GP. Maybe this is where Button's AI can shine from pole position.
We might be in the middle of the desert here, but it does still rain in this part of the world. It's raining right now. How is that going to affect things down the world-famous strip at the Las Vegas Grand Prix?
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Jenson Button lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Tim Tramnitz, and Russell, Lawson, Ocon, Verstappen, and Franco Colapinto, Gasly, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, and Antonelli, Tsunoda, Hadjar, Lance Stroll, and Jack Doohan, Albon, Aaron, Bortoletto, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'll give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. Quitting while you're ahead, not spending too much on the slot machines and trying to get some decent sleep. That's my main 3 challenges here in Las Vegas, but what about the drivers?
Yeah, speaking about the on-track challenges, Crofty, enough about you and your challenge over the weekend. This track, you're on Monza downforce, don't forget. So every corner that comes your way, you've got way less grip than you're accustomed to in a Formula One car. So you've got to tread carefully, particularly around the higher speed content on the circuits.
You know how we just spoke about Alex Jakes being the next commentator for Season 3? I swear the intro there for the race just glitched, and it gave us Alex Jakes for a little moment and then went back to Crofty for the rest of it. Like, go back and scroll just now, the grid sequence. It's Crofty talking, but the intro, the very start, was definitely Alex Jakes. Yeah, okay, odd. Maybe the feed swapped momentarily. They gave us a little preview of what we could get in Season 3, but oh my days, look at the spray. Look at the rain. I'm going to say it. It is absolutely biblical rain here in Nevada. It's a desert, for goodness sake. How is there this much rain coming down in Las Vegas for the race? It's going to be for the entire race as well. This could either be a great race for us, or it could be a really difficult one, depending on how the patch has worked out for the wet weather and what this car, this newly upgraded B-spec aarava Archer racing car, essentially, is going to be like in full wet conditions. I think this is the first time as well that we're on full wets, not on inters. So this is a complete stab into the unknown as we go to 5 red lights for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Lights out, and we're underway. It's a good start for Button, who has to try and cover off Hamilton, though, who equally has had a good start. We've launched it on the outside, but we've been way too audacious, and we've got onto the paint and had to let off throttle. Leclerc and Norris re-overtaking us as it's Button versus Hamilton for P1 and 2 side by side. The race leaders are on heavy fuel in heavy rain. This is unreal skill being shown from JB and Hamilton as the two of them turn back the clocks, racing each other wheel to wheel. Awesome to see, and Hamilton is into the lead, announcing his retirement. He now leads this next Grand Prix. What on earth is going on, Lewis? Why are you leaving us? There is no need to leave Formula One right now. You're in form at the moment as Norris gets round the outside of Leclerc, and we're going to try and follow the Brit through on the inside. It's going to be very close. Touch and go with the wall, touch and go with Leclerc, but we're up into P4, and very nicely for the championship fight. That means now Leclerc and Russell are together, and Russell has a clear sight of the Ferrari as we try and get the power down to push away and chase after the McLaren. Right now, the pace is looking pretty all right, you know, a little bit defensive with Leclerc there, but soon enough on lap 2, we're pushed away as Russell is nearly in the wall. He's trying the right-hand side. Leclerc's having none of it, so Russell thinks, okay, I'll go to the left, goes down the inside, and the Mercedes tries to get the move done. He does get the move done round the outside into the chicane. It's a really great move from Russell to get up into P5, so hopefully this will be going back and forth, basically. This is getting very exciting through the final corner as Russell and Leclerc really on the edge of grip there. As lap 4, we try to gain on Norris, and oh my God, we make a very, very narrow escape there. Nearly hit Lando on the rear and nearly hit the wall. We're going to go for it again. Lap 5, we're going for some very ballsy dives here. This time, though, this one was actually pre-planned as we sent it on the inside. We just put Lando under pressure, and we've gone and danced around the outside. You know what? That move right there, that was redemption for what happened in Brazil. Not completely, we've still got a whole race to go, but that felt like a bit of redemption there. That was some nice calculated moves versus Lando. A nice little shimmy around the outside, and you know, a bit more like myself, you know, with some good driving on the outside there rather than some of the mistakes we were making around Sao Paulo, as Verstappen gets the move maybe on Ocon. Ocon's actually going to annoy the hell out of Verstappen. I mean, in a past life, these two were, you know, very much not, you know, liking each other back to, actually, ironically, Sao Paulo many years ago. Verstappen and Ocon had a bit of a scrap and a showdown out the car. This time round, I imagine if Ocon does not concede position eventually, Verstappen is going to have similar words and similar fists maybe for Ocon after this race, because for his championship, he needs to get past Ocon. He needs to get onto the back of Lawson as a minimum, really, because then he's got to go chase after the actual two people he's in a title fight with. Russell and Leclerc, P6 and 5. Here he goes on the outside. The Red Bull surely has the downforce to get that move. He does, but the Haas has been improved as of late with upgrades of its own, so no wonder it took a bit longer, as Hamilton with a purple lap time. We're with a purple lap time, though. We're trading fastest laps with Tim Tramnitz and Lewis Hamilton. The vibes are good right now. You know what? This is feeling like the redemption arc we wanted after Sao Paulo. It's why I wanted to drive as Tramnitz. Even with the heavy rain, it's not letting us down. Maybe the patch did help us out a bit in terms of the heavy rain racing, maybe not the acceleration, but we're doing well here around Las Vegas. But that was the case last season. The acceleration was not an issue in season 1 either. There are definitely just some certain tracks where it's a lot worse than others, and Vegas isn't one of them. It seems pretty good for the AI in terms of, you know, the level playing field player to AI. As Sonoda is out, and that is going to bring out the virtual safety car, because it's a very awkward place to have an engine failure. The blind left-hander, I'm surprised it's not a full safety car, to be honest, because that's very dangerous, but that's why actually Sonoda gets out of the way completely, which is good for him, and so it means it's just a VSC. So it's, you know, time just to calm it down a little bit, breathe a little. There is a planned pit stop in our strategy screen. There was a planned pit stop. So if you were to make a pit stop, now would be the time to take it. But I think we should try and do this entire race on this one set of tyres. Because typically in previous F1 games, and typically in an F1 race, real life, you would think the wets should go the full distance. Maybe there's argument to changing them, you know, but it's also a case of in real life, I feel like you're all quite, you know, the drivers all end up being quite stubborn. The teams are all stubborn, and you all just, you watch them all just do it on one set of tyres. So I think we should go to the end on this same set, and I'm surprised that Button, Hamilton, they're not come in behind. No one's come in. No one's come in. So is everyone going for the zero stop here in this race? Or are there going to be people making a pit stop as on to lap 12. We've lost a bit of time to Button as the VSC just got us out of the rhythm, but Lando's in, Leclerc as well. Leclerc, one of the championship contenders, Russell as well. So 2 of the championship protagonists are in on lap 12 for a fresh set of full wets. I assume the same can be said for Lando Norris and the McLaren. Verstappen's not come in. So is this going to be the way Verstappen gets back into the title fight? Is he going to go to the end? And is he going to jump Leclerc and Russell for track position that way? As we watch ahead, oh, Button's veering left. Button's coming in. Oh, Jensen. This is why I wish there was a feature where you could kind of communicate to the team as the team owner and tell him, no, stay out, stay out. Because he's come in, Hamilton's come in, we've stayed out, and we're going to the end. I've made my mind up. I think this is the gamble here in Vegas that's worth taking as we take the lead. Oh, no. Even more reason why Button shouldn't have come in. It's a slow pit stop on the right rear. And someone said this in the comments, and I agree now after this one. I really do need to invest in a better pit crew on the HQ facilities. We've got so much money to burn. That's going to be my next big investment, is the pit crew, because we've had too many mistakes as of late. Button's now P6. He's behind Russell and Leclerc and Norris. He should have been behind Hamilton, but he's not. Oh, that is so frustrating. I really thought it could have been a double podium for us. You know, with Tsunoda out, you know, Albon's been down in P15. The Williams has looked horrendous in the wet conditions. This was a massive open door for us to close on Williams and the constructors. And now Button's down the order. Let's see what he can do. But now we're in the lead by 12 seconds. It's up for grabs here. Is there about to be a magical result on the cards? As with 8 laps to go, the gap is down to 6 seconds though. So the cars behind are gaining on us rapidly because they've got fresh wets. But is there just enough of a gap there? And there's not enough laps for maybe us to stay in P1 as Leclerc shows the pace of Ferrari. He overtakes Lando. He's up into 3rd. It's a double Ferrari podium on the cards. But can either of them catch myself as Russell is down in P5? So this is big for Leclerc in his Drivers' Championship fight. He's now going to get a load of points on Russell, and they're both getting loads of points on Verstappen because, to be fair, Button wasn't the only one who got shafted in the pit stops. Verstappen did as well. He's back behind Ocon as Piastri struggling for grip in his other Red Bull, and he's fighting Kimi Antonelli in the Haas. And Antonelli, who might just be looking at the retiring Hamilton and thinking, am I about to get a top drive, as we move rapidly through this last phase of the Grand Prix in the wet conditions. Not too much happening because everyone is on edge, everyone not wanting to make a mistake, but Carlos Sainz does get up into P10 to get one more point for Mercedes in the constructors, and every point is gonna count by the end of the season. I think with Ferrari looking so good, Merc need everything to try and defend Ferrari in the constructors, and so did Red Bull, but they're not getting it with Piastri P13. Verstappen still unable to get past Ocon and actually nowhere near him at this stage. But now the question mark is, can we actually stay in P1? The gap's down to 3 seconds, so it's come down rapidly from 12 to 6 to 3, and now on the second last lap of this Grand Prix, it's still raining so heavily. We're coming to lap Hajar, but the gap is less than a second. Hamilton is there in the race weekend where he has announced his retirement from Formula One. He is looking for another record-breaking race win to add to his tally. We're using Hajar there to try and block him off because Lewis is there, but the V-carb is going to slow him up just a little bit because I just need to get to the last lap and then we can be really defensive to try and hold on to this. But it was a calamity in Sao Paulo. Let's not mince words. It was a disaster in Sao Paulo driving as Tim Tramnitz. I said this might be the redemption for us in Las Vegas. I didn't imagine that would mean going for a race win as the Ferrari is coming at us at a rate of knots. We're deploying battery. We're going to the inside to defend. But the thing is, do we have the tyres to defend? Look at the icon on the bottom right. It is brick red. Our tyre wear is horrendous, and I daren't even bring up the screen yet because in my mind, if we don't know the number of the tyre wear, it doesn't exist. If I can't see it, it's not there. I'm in the cockpit, I'm putting a hand up to my eyes and just driving blind in terms of the tyres, and I am just believing that there is enough tyre life in this car to do this. But from what I can see on track, that may not be the case. Hamilton's down the inside. He's switched back to us. We've gone far too tight. We've not got the tyre grip. It's now a drag race down into the next section before the sphere. Hamilton on the inside. Can we do anything to outbrake him? Oh, we just wince through. Hamilton's wayward. He's getting a drift on, and Leclerc has joined the party. That's good news for us. Maybe Leclerc puts on the pressure to Ferrari, onto Hamilton, and that's enough just to maybe offset him a little bit and not go for the move. But you can see I am just slipping and sliding everywhere. But the Ferraris are as well. You saw Hamilton drift through that right-hander at the sphere. So the Ferraris are also feeling a bit of tyre wear on their new set of wets, but it's time to... Oh my God. I said it's time to look at the tyre wear. Is that 94? Is that 94%? 94% rear. We're lucky. We're lucky that's not punctured, by the way, because tyre puncture region is 70%. So we've gambled big here in Las Vegas, and we're getting very lucky up until this point to not even have a puncture with this level of tyre wear. We've saved battery to use it all in this last sector as we come through the final couple of corners here in Vegas. Absolutely no grip on offer as we try and get the power down. Hamilton coming at us, but we're going to hold. We're going to hold, and we're going to hold on for dear life to come across the line. P1. It's our second win of the season, the second win of this team's history, and this is a first win for F3 driver icon Tim Tramnitz.
The checkered flag flies, and Tim Tramnitz can say, I'm a winner.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top three finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
I think this more than makes up for what happened in Sao Paulo. Unbelievable. I am so gassed. One win apiece. One win for Button this season. One win for Tramnitz. I'm so happy with that. I'm so happy with that in Season 2. And that just shows also, by the way, Button won the sprint last episode. We just won this Grand Prix. This car is there, and we can overturn Williams, because look at this. We're only 1 point behind Williams now, going into a sprint race at Qatar and then Abu Dhabi. It is actually now very much on the cards that we do this amazing work of getting P4 back in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, there's a title fight only separated by 2 points are Leclerc and Russell, so that's amazing. Verstappen's 20 points off, though, so he's a bit out of it. He needs a mega Qatar sprint weekend to maybe get back into it, but for us, we're on cloud 9 right now. I'm so happy that we managed to get Tramnitz a win as well as Button in this same season. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.